call this meeting to order, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, by all. Okay, we will do the meeting minutes as well as a roll call. So has everyone looked at the minutes from the July 27th meeting? Got a chance to review those?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the July 27th meeting. Candace?
Okay, yes, I will take roll call. Lake County,
Yes.
Porter County,
Yes.
Burns Harbor, Cedar Lake, Chesterton, Crown Point, East Chicago, Gary, Hammond, Hobart, Lake Station, Maryville, Munster, Portage, Cherville,
Yes.
thank you, Valparaiso, Winfield, Beverly Shores, Dune Acres, Dyer, Griffith, Hebron, Highland, Couts, Lowell, New Chicago, Ogden Dunes, Porter, St. John, Whiting, GPTC, East Chicago Transit, NICD, Opportunity Enterprises, and Lake County Community Services. That concludes roll call.
Union Township, yes.
Union Township. My apologies, George. Thank you so much. Did I
Okay.
miss anybody else join after I took roll call? Okay, thank you very much.
Are there, moving on, item number 3 on the agenda, public comment? Are there any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. The spending plan update. This is pretty much from the July. Although there are several projects that have slipped, and I will get into that later. Everybody's have seen the agenda, so you've seen how projects are starting to slip. As well as the next item would be the projects, not only projects going to construction, but projects with funding this year. So you should be, if you are looking for funds for projects this year, and you need to get your RFI or RFQ out, get that out as quickly as possible. I think the deadline for getting those out and getting funding for a phase is mid to late January. So that's something to keep in mind, that if you don't start the process of looking at consultants, then after late January, it's almost too late in the year to get it. Moving on, let me see if I can share my screen. Moving on, new business. This is going to be, I've added a couple things to this agenda as of last week. Local quarterly meetings, which everybody should know, are tomorrow, October 27th, Thursday, November 4th, and Monday, November 8th. There's a local quarterly meeting schedule that was attached to this agenda. Are there any questions or comments on that? Okay. As most everybody knows, reports were due last Thursday. However, I noticed that there were a couple comments about, or I had a couple questions concerning quarterly reports, if the project is completed or closed. So, and as always, if the project is closed or completed and the last invoice is in, you do not need to fill out a quarterly report. In our tip, there isn't a way of turning on or turning off the requirement for a quarterly report, so it's always going to show up as a quarterly report, even if it was completed 3 or 4 years ago. So the only way we'll get out of that is when we go to the next tip. So, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So again, if your project is completed and closed out, you do not have to do a quarterly report. I'm reviewing those right now, so if you haven't done one, get it done ASAP. 5B, 22 and 23 construction projects. If you're going to construction, and this is more for all the consultants in the room, as well as everyone, please review your estimates for inflation and construction timelines. For instance, I know strain poles are taking an extra 4 weeks to come in. Asphalt's starting to gone up. PVC pipe is just skyrocketed. Fittings, copper fittings, so on and so forth. Wire, all those prices have skyrocketed. So please review your estimates for inflation as well as timelines so that projects aren't held up. Also, we have a couple projects, a couple little minor projects going on in the area. NICTE has got their double track and their Westlake going on. So keep in mind that a lot of those subcontractors are going to be busy on those two big projects. So there might be a labor shortage. I know we've heard a lot about labor shortages this past year, but there might be a labor shortage in trying to get qualified laborers and engineers to work on projects if they're all tied up with the NICTE projects. Something to keep in mind that may drive up overall costs. So, and we do have a constrained budget. We don't have any extra funds. So right now we've set aside $365,000 a year for change orders. But if projects are going up in cost, that may be affected also. So keep that in mind, everyone. Like I said, review your engineer's estimates and making sure that we've accounted for inflation. Moving on, the TIP and the STIP, there's a confusion between all the MPOs and NDOT. the best way I can say is right now I'm working with two different books. Now, anybody who's an accountant out there probably is just cringed. NDOT is still working, had some issues with their 22 to 26 STIP. So, and that has not been approved by Federal Highway. So therefore, although NERC has approved and adopted the 22 to 2026 TIP, none of those projects are recognized at NDOT. So I've been trying to go back and go through and look at projects and to see where, if any projects are missing. And I'm only talking about 20 projects in 2022 and 2023. As far as Federal Highway is concerned, 2024, 2025, and 2026 are illustrative years, and they're not even looking at those. So now NDOT is hoping to, within the next few months, to get the new 2026 STIP adopted. But if there's a project in 2022 or 2023, they would like us to push through an amendment, and we'll probably end up by doing an emergency amendment because it's already gone through the public comment process. But I guess what I'm asking is, everyone, please look at your projects in RTIP. And when I say look at your projects in RTIP, if you can look on the public facing side, I would appreciate that. That'll probably give you a little bit easier, better idea. Because nothing with a 2022 prefix on it, in other words, 22-00, which was the adoption, or 22-01 or 02. None of those amendments with a 2022 with a 22 prefix has been incorporated into the STIP, which means we've accepted them, we've adopted them, but they are not in this. In NDOT and Federal Highway hasn't accepted or adopted those. My understanding is that they are in the process of adopting Amendment 1 and 2, but they also would like they would like me to give them a list as soon as possible of all the projects that had any changes in that. So what I'm asking everyone is to go in RTIP and look and make sure that what your project is correct. I looked at, for instance, Maryville. Maryville, we have moved their sidewalk project from 21 to 22. Well, it's not in the STIP, so therefore it's not been accepted. So it still shows construction in 2021. And I noticed that when I was going through local quarterly reports that Maryville submitted. That's just one example. So if everybody could look and just send me an email, and trust me, I'd much rather get more emails than not enough, and just let me know if everything is good or if it's not good. I'd appreciate it. I'm going to send this in after quarterly meetings, this report to NDOT, and hopefully we can get that all taken care of, and then shouldn't have any more issues. I've been trying to do this myself, but obviously I missed a couple things. So if I could get any assistance in that, I would definitely appreciate that. Any questions on that? Okay.
Charles, this is Denny. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So what's the situation then for Broadway? We're scheduled in February.
Yeah,
Are we okay for that or what?
I'm going to put it in. It's in an emergency amendment right now. So we'll get that hopefully out on the 11th or 12th or 8th, I should say, 8th or 9th. I'll get that to
Okay, because
NDOT.
we're
and that'll be- I know,
turning
I
in
know,
tracings this week.
I know. So,
Okay,
and NDOT says that they're working with us, but again, like I said, I thought it was already moved. But I noticed yesterday morning when I was going through and I was looking at Maryville's projects. I know that one's in February, so initially NDOT said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. The MPOs won't have to do anything. And foolish me, I believe them. So we're trying to get this taken care of as quickly as possible. Anything else? So I know one of the consultants I talked with, and they were flushing through a bunch of their projects, but if I could get the other consultants as well as the other LPAs, if you got a project and it's in construction's in 2022 or 2023, just give me a heads up and let me know how things are setting and if everything in RTIP is what it should be. Is there any other business that needs to be discussed? Okay. If there's no other business or no other discussion, I move to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Charles. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.